Hey everybody, I hope that you're all doing well on this Christmas Eve. Still up in Washington, D.C. right now, getting ready to go to the floor of the House of Representatives to go and vote on a massive spending bill, $1.7 trillion, $1,700 billion. It is a crazy spending bill. It is an irresponsible spending bill. That doesn't mean that there are not good and positive things in it. There are some, but there is so much waste in this bill and upsizing of things in this bill. Just because something's a good program doesn't mean that you have to double or triple or quadruple the size of that program. Because again, remember, every single thing about every single one of these programs, it's your money, it's your dollars. You went to work, you got up early in the morning. This takes away from your family savings, your kids' savings, your ability to go out there and put money into the education for college of your kids, or you name it, whatever it is. It's your money, and this is what takes away from it. So I want to go over a couple of things in this bill right before I go and vote no on this piece of legislation. So one of the things in this bill, border security, a big thing that we've been talking about in the United States of America for decades, certainly, but this has become a epidemic of a problem, a true epidemic of a problem, what's going on our border. So what does this bill do for border security in the United States of America? Not much. In terms of literally border security in other countries, quite a bit. So the bill includes $410 million for border security in Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, Tunisia, and Oman. You think about that. Somebody literally wrote this into the bill. Let me, I'll read directly to you from the bill. So it says this. Amounts appropriated in this act under the heading Operation and Maintenance Defense-Wide for Defense Security Cooperation Agency, $410 million, available until September 30, 2024, to reimburse. We're reimbursing Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, Tunisia, Oman under Section 1226 National Defense Authorization Act for enhanced border security. That's absurd when you think about that and what we're not doing. One, spending that, and then two, what we're not doing here in the United States of America in terms of protecting our own borders. Let me go to another one. $575 million of your money made available for family planning in areas where population growth threatens endangered species. Now, what this literally says, I'll just read the short excerpt just from the bill. $575 million should be made available for family planning, reproductive health, including in areas where population growth threatens biodiversity and endangered species. What this is literally about is paying people to not be reproductive and not be reproductive in certain areas, and $575 million related to doing that, so that to tell people don't have children or help them to not have children in these specific areas. Again, absurd $575 million to spend. Let me go to another quick one. This was not the biggest spend of the bill by any means, but it was certainly an interesting one when it goes to ego and when it goes to just Speaker Pelosi in general. We all know Speaker Pelosi has done a number of things for parks in her area. Well, this one is specifically the federal building located at 97th Street in San Francisco, California, shall now be known and designated as the Speaker Pelosi Federal Building. So she literally, in her last piece of legislation as the Speaker of the House, is naming a building after herself. That would be like me writing a provision in this bill to say, well, I'm going to rename the courthouse in Fort Pierce the Brian Mast Federal Courthouse, or something else like that in our home. It's absolutely absurd, egotistical, and totally unnecessary. Thankfully, it doesn't spend a huge amount of money. I'm sure they'll have to change the name on the building, but in that, I want to go to one other spending item here real quick before I go and take this vote. And this one's $777.5 million for a program. This is something directly related to the Foreign Affairs Committee that I sit on and try to fight against this kind of waste. And again, I'll read it directly from the bill. For necessary expenses of education and cultural exchange programs, authorized $777,500,000 to remain available. Now, this is the exact program. That doesn't sound, it sounds like a bad number, but you don't exactly know exactly what that is by just reading that. That is the fund that maybe you remember reading about this recently in Ecuador, where the United States of America was paying to fund drag queen shows in Ecuador. That's $777.5 million fund. That was the fund that was used to fund those drag shows. So re-upping that at another $777.5 million of your money. So that's just a few of the things. 400,000 plus page bill. I could literally do this all day, talking to you all day and then some about the stuff that's in this bill that shouldn't be there, and that's an absolute waste of your taxpayer dollars. In that, I have to go vote. I want to say this, as always, it is an honor to represent you, to be in this fight. It's frustrating that we even have to have these kind of fights right here, that somebody is willing to go out there and write these things into a bill. Absolutely a disgrace, a dishonor, disgrace to our country, dishonor to you, to everybody else, that this is the way it's done. Irresponsible. And in that, I'm going to go and vote no.